What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Brogcast that now has a new home here on JBbomproductions. So, if you're a subscriber of JBbomproductions and you've never listened to the Brogcast before on my old channel, here it is. This is it right here. So, for you listeners of the Brogcast who have been wondering where the heck I've been, well, here's the thing. My $35 interface that I got for Cyber Monday that I used to start the podcast died. It died a peaceful death, which, is to be expected from a $35 interface. So I wasn't surprised when it went out. It was kind of a bummer, but I also needed to upgrade anyway. So I got my brand new interface. It is the Lewitt Connect 6. It is a very versatile, easy-to-use interface. It is a lot more professional and higher quality than my $35 one. I love it. Well, I love it now that I got it working, because when I first got it a couple days ago, I was having a lot of issues with it. What happened was I was getting sound coming from the control center program on this thing. So I knew that was working. I knew that the microphone was working properly and that the levels were working properly, but I wasn't able to record anything with my recording software. I tried 2 different recording softwares. I tried Audacity, which is what I mainly use to record the Brogcast, and since that wasn't working, I tried to use Soundtrap. That's the program that I use for my drum covers. That Soundtrap also has a podcast feature, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try it out. Well, I tried that out, and it said permission denied. And Audacity had some sort of error code. So I was very puzzled and went into Control Panel, which is kind of the source of everything, all of your devices. And what happened was, it was recognized by my computer. I could see the name of it right in there. It said Lewitt Connect 6. Line 1, which is my microphone, and it was there, but I wasn't getting any sound put into it. It was very, very strange. There were no green bars. The level was at 0. And so I went in there and I tried to adjust the level, and it was locked. And I'm like, what's going on here? And then I was like, well, maybe the drivers inside the Lewitt Connect 6 kind of override the computer in a way so you can't adjust it manually. And with that, I was very frustrated because I really wanted to get the Brogcast going again, and I just could not figure it out. So I scoured the internet high and low to try to find a solution or to see if anybody else had this problem. And since the Lewitt Connect 6 isn't super popular right now, there wasn't really anybody with this problem. So after trying to get this thing going, I decided to do a little experiment. So inside the Lewitt auto setup feature, there's something called an expander, and it's a tool that's used for live streaming that filters out background noise. And I thought that would be great for my podcast so I wouldn't have any background noise. And so I enabled it. Initially, I enabled it when I first did the auto setup. And what I did with this experiment, I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll just turn it off, see what it does. And boom, I finally had sound going into my computer from the interface. And I've been at this for a couple days now. And so I was very elated. I ran around the house going, woohoo, like screaming. And because I was so happy that I finally got this thing to work. And another reason is because I considered selling this thing. I considered selling my interface, selling my microphone, and getting a USB mic because I was just fed up. I was like, you know what? That's the easy way to do it. I'll just have a USB mic and I won't have to worry about any programs or any issues with the interface. It'll just be direct. It'll be just direct sound. So that was kind of my last resort. Because with the USB mic, you don't have as much, control, like immediate control over what's going in. You have to like manually adjust stuff either before or after. Whereas this interface, you can adjust the volume, the levels, everything in real time. So I was kind of bummed out that I had to consider selling everything and buying a USB mic. So yeah, I was very, very happy once I figured this thing out. So yes, the Brogcast is back in business, and I'm so happy to be back with you guys. And before I had this whole issue with the interface, last week I had my drum mic go out. It was my blue Snowball that I had for almost 10 years. It finally died out, and it was in the middle of a drum cover, and I was like, dang it, I have no microphone now. So I had to order a brand new blue Snowball microphone. I just got it the other day, and now I have a drum mic. So that's fixed. And another tech issue is my Dell XPS 159520 is having issues again. And those who have been following me for a long time remember that when I first got this computer, I was having issues with it. The headphone jack wouldn't work. The fingerprint scanner wouldn't work. I was having issues with the Thunderbolt USB port shutting off at random times. I remember at one point when I was doing a live stream, there was like a flash, like the screen flashed and the USB ports just shut down. It was ridiculous. And I was like, man, for the amount of money that I paid for this computer, it should not be doing these things. And it turns out that according to like all the forums that I've read on Dell computers, they're just junk now. Like they do this type of stuff all the time. And those issues went away, and for the past year or so, it's been fine. I've had no issues with it. And then just yesterday, I was editing my drum cover, the one that I just put up. I was editing it, and the sound going to my headphones was all distorted and wacky. And at first, I thought it was my new blue Snowball microphone that I got for my drumming. And I was like, oh my God, now this thing's not working. And I was already having issues with the interface, so I was like, well, there's that too. And I was getting super overwhelmed and frustrated. And it turns out it was just the headphone jack, because when I unplugged it and I edited with the speakers, everything was fine. And this was after the Dell update. And the Dell update just made things worse. My headphone jack doesn't work, which means I'm kind of in a tough position for when I want to do drum covers, because now I don't have sound going through my headphones, so I don't have any music playing while I play. So what I might do is I might order some Bluetooth drumming headphones, and maybe that'll be, maybe that's a good thing, because I won't have to worry about wires in the way. And also the ear cups on my current headphones are falling off. They've actually been falling off for a few years. I've just been like sticking them on and just putting them on my head and holding them on that way. So I think it's time to upgrade the headphones anyway. But this type of stuff should not be happening with this computer, because it's a high-end computer and it's acting like junk sometimes, and it's very frustrating. But hopefully there will be a new Dell update coming out that will fix the headphone jack. But like I said, it's time for an upgrade anyway, so I might just go ahead and get those Bluetooth isolation headphones, and I won't have to worry about the headphone jack thing. Alright, so next topic is Tekken. So those who have known me for a long time know that I love Tekken. It is one of the few video games that I know a lot about and that I'm kind of fascinated with. And yeah, I love Tekken. I am so hyped. Tekken 8 is coming out in just a few days, and I'm so excited to download that thing and play it. I haven't played the demo yet, but I have seen the trailer, and it looks like a pretty epic game. One thing that I like is, so my favorite Tekken character is Warang, and one of the things that I didn't like about Tekken 7 was that they changed his red hair. They changed his red hair to black, and then he had like a red hair stripe in his hair. It was really weird. And I didn't like it because for years, Warang has been a redhead, and that was one of the things that made him unique. And so when they took that away, I was like, why are they doing this? Like, this is a part of who Warring is. And according to the trailer and the pictures I've seen of Warring in Tekken 8, they brought his red hair back. And I'm so relieved and so happy that they brought it back because, like I said, it's one of the things that makes Warring unique. And I don't have a PS5 or an Xbox One. I just have my PC. So I'm going to download, when it comes out, I'm going to download Tekken 8 on my PC. And it should be able to run it pretty good. I have a NVIDIA RTX 3050 Ti in my computer. So I think it should be able to run it pretty good. I also got a laptop cooler for when I do editing. So I think that'll also help with the gaming because when I game or when I edit, my laptop gets very, very hot. So I think it should be able to run it pretty good, and I'm very, very excited for this game. So another one of my obsessions is professional wrestling. And these days, in the wrestling world, there are two major teams to pro wrestling. There is, of course, WWE, been around for a very long time, has millions and millions of fans. And then there's their rival, AEW. And one of the questions as a pro wrestling fan that we will get is, what team are you on? And when AEW first burst on the scene, I was full AEW. I was all about them. But that was because I hadn't watched WWE's programming in quite a while. And the last time I had watched WWE programming, it was very stale. And I just kind of grew apart from it and lost interest. And then AEW came on and I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a explosive style of programming. I love it. It reminds me of like the Attitude Era. And so for that point in time, I was all AEW. I thought WWE was stale and boring. And then just recently, I started watching WWE again. And I tell you what, WWE has really stepped up their programming. It is a lot more entertaining now. And so now I am on Team AEW and WWE. I'm no longer fully on the AEW side. I like both. I have heard, though, that AEW is losing fans. And I'm not sure why that is. I'm wondering if people are just switching to WWE. Maybe some people think that WWE is better, which in some aspects it is. But I'm a AEW and WWE fan. So one of the things that got me to watch WWE again was the return of Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. I gotta see what's going on. And yes, it's a lot more entertaining than it was when I last watched it. And they've really stepped up their game. And I'm so glad that Cody Rhodes and CM Punk have come back. And now they're not feuding with each other, but after watching Monday Night Raw, yeah, I can definitely sense a feud. There's going to be a feud going on because CM Punk told Cody Rhodes, I'm the real he said, I am more of an American dream than your father was. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. This is going to be a rivalry waiting to happen. Also, I heard that WWE Raw is moving to Netflix. And a lot of fans are angry about it. And it's understandable because now you have to pay the streaming service to watch Raw. But I see some good sides to this. So the one good thing about this is there's going to be no network restrictions. If WWE decides to, they can go back to TV 14. They can make it as crazy as they can, and they don't have to worry about USA getting on them and telling them what to do and micromanaging them. Netflix is a completely different platform, and so WWE can just let it fly. I think they will have a lot more creative freedom after they move to Netflix. I'm pretty curious as to how that's going to play out. Like I said, a lot of fans are angry about it, so maybe they'll just decide that it's not a good idea business wise and move back to USA. But I think I see good things coming. I think WWE will have a lot more creative freedom, and I think we will see a more revamped and possibly better version of Raw that I think will bring a lot of the older fans back, because I think it might have some elements of the Attitude Era with that creative freedom. And my next topic that I want to talk about is mud water. For those that know me, I won't shut up about it. And that is because this stuff has changed my life. So for those of you who don't know what mud water is a coffee replacement. It is supposed to replace your morning coffee or caffeine to start your day. It is a drink mix that comes in a powder. It has 3 types of adaptogenic mushrooms. There's reishi. No, not reishi. I keep saying reishi to people, but it's actually pronounced reishi. There's reishi, cordyceps, and lion's mane. There are 3 mushrooms that are supposed to wake you up naturally, boost your energy, reduce inflammation. They're excellent for your kidneys. They have all these different benefits. And there's also turmeric and cocoa and chai to flavor it. And turmeric is also an anti-inflammatory, so it just adds to it. And so, yes, it's got a lot of really good stuff in it. I started drinking it a couple months ago, and for the first couple weeks, I wasn't really noticing anything. And 3 weeks to a month in, I noticed a huge difference. Another thing that this stuff does is it also reduces stress. So that was one of the first things that I noticed was 3 weeks to a month after drinking it, my stress levels went down. I have a very fast-paced job, and so a lot of times, especially during our busiest days, it gets very stressful. And so I was struggling with my stress levels during the workday. So 3 months to a week after drinking mud water, I noticed a huge drop in my stress levels. So it's made my life a lot easier, and I feel good knowing that it's doing things to help my body. And another thing too is it's also helping my energy levels. Because of mud water, I completely quit caffeine. I used to be a pretty frequent caffeine drinker. About a year or so back, I was pretty hooked on energy drinks. It was kind of a vicious cycle, because I would need the energy drinks to stay somewhat awake, but at the same time, they didn't really have an effect on me energy-wise. It would just kind of keep me a little bit stable, and if I didn't drink any energy drinks, I would feel really, really, really low. And I knew that energy drinks weren't good for my body. I was drinking the zero sugar energy drinks, so there was just more chemicals being put into my body, and I knew that the caffeine wasn't good for my heart either, and so I had to do something. And also another thing is I got kidney stones from drinking energy drinks. So I knew I had to make a change and do something different. So for a while, after I dropped energy drinks, which was tough, because a couple weeks after I stopped drinking energy drinks, I felt very, very low energy, yawning all the time, feeling tired all the time, but I knew that it was going to go away. I just kind of had to ride the wave. So after I quit energy drinks, after those 2 weeks of hell, my body finally flushed everything out and reset itself, but I was still having to drink my morning cup of coffee. And that was okay, but what I didn't realize was that my morning coffee with all that caffeine, I was raising my cortisol levels and causing me to feel stressed all the time. And that wasn't fun. And then just a couple months ago, I got an ad for mud water. And then I also got an ad for other types of mushroom coffee, but I kept getting an ad for mud water. And I was like, what the heck is this stuff? So I looked at it and I read about it. I read about all of the benefits to the body that it does. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start drinking this stuff because I want to reduce my stress levels, but at the same time, I want to increase my energy levels and focus and things like that. So I ordered it, and yeah, after about a month of drinking it, I feel amazing. I feel awesome. Now, for those of you who are considering buying mud water, it's a little spendy. For a 30-day supply, even with a subscription, it's $40 a month. I had to start ordering two-month supplies because I just blow through the 30-day supply within no time. Because sometimes I drink it in the morning and at night, just because at the end of the night, I like having mud water. That's one of the things that reishi does, one of the mushrooms that's in it. Reishi helps with sleep. And so I like to drink mud water at night as well. But I will say it is definitely worth the money, just knowing all of the great stuff that it does for your body. Another thing that I want you guys to know if you're going to drink mud water is that it will not dissolve in water. The powder will not dissolve. It's kind of annoying, but I've found a way to work around this. So I'll kind of break down the process of how I make my mud water drink. So what I'll do is I'll grab a coffee cup, put in a scoop of the mud water powder, then boil some water, pour some boiling water into the cup, and then what they'll do is when you buy the starter kit, they'll give you a frother. So I use the frother and I froth it, and then I add half and half for creamer, or you can buy their powder creamer, but I prefer half and half. So to sort of keep the powder suspended, since it will not dissolve, as I drink it, I will stir it to keep the powder from settling to the bottom, because that was one issue I was having when I first got it. I was like, what's going on? This stuff won't dissolve. And what would happen was I would drink it, and then all the powder would settle to the bottom, and I would have to scoop it up and eat it, which is not a good idea. Those mushrooms taste like crap without any water or creamer in them. So I thought I was doing something wrong. So I looked, and yeah, there are a lot of people who drank mud water who were having the same issue, but there was really no way to resolve it. So I reached out to Mud Water. I emailed them, and I'm like, why is this stuff not dissolving? And they're like, well, actually, the reason why it's not dissolving is because unlike a lot of other companies, we do not put chemicals in the powder to make it dissolve. The powder is just pure natural ingredients, and there's no extra stuff added. So what they told me was that it's totally normal for it to settle at the bottom. So yeah, my way to work around this is I just stir it and I drink it at the same time. So I definitely recommend mud water to anybody who wants to stabilize their stress and their energy levels and wants to help their body at the same time. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of the Brogcast. I will see you guys next time. So now let's get to that ending credit music, Splatitude. Let's go. Peace.